Thank you once again for making Locked On Cougars your first listen of the day. If you have not done so already, please subscribe, rate, and review the show wherever you're listening to it, whether it's on YouTube, you're watching it, or if you're listening to it on Spotify or Apple or a myriad of different apps out there. Make sure you do your part and help us build the audience. We've had a really, really good year so far, but like to keep that going and obviously share it with your family and friends. If they don't know about this, it's daily BYU content. Let them know that they can check it out wherever they get their podcasts. All right, let's talk about Tiger Bachmeier. Now, we talked about Bear and what he brings because there's a whole lot of potential in him. Well, the nice part is you don't have to worry about potential with Tiger because he is produced at the Power 4 level. He's played the past 2 years at Stanford, and the best part is he has shown that he's very capable as a wide receiver, but also in special teams as a return man. He had a big, I think it was a kick return at one point for a touchdown during his Stanford career. He comes into BYU at 6'1", 190 pounds. So he's not as rocked out as his brother is because, like I said, Bear listed at 6'2", 225. But what Tiger has is he will come into BYU and having shown that he is a very capable wide receiver, had a really, really strong freshman campaign in 2023, 36 receptions for 409 yards and 2 touchdowns. A little bit quieter this past year, just 10 receptions and 67 yards overall in the season. But both years, Stanford struggled mightily under Troy. I think it was back-to-back 3-9 campaigns. And Tiger took until Saturday evening to commit to BYU. I think he wanted to do his due diligence and ultimately decide that it was in his best interest of where he was going to end up. Okay, so it was a punt return for a touchdown. I apologize. It was a 90-yard punt return against Cal Poly. They returned to the house, but he's also got experience kick returns as well. And the nice part is you look at his background. He comes from a strong family. I probably should have mentioned this at the outset. Their older brother, Hank, was a quarterback at Boise State, Louisiana Tech, and then most recently at Wake Forest, where his career ended this past season. This is a really, really athletic family, and they're a football family. That's the thing about this. You bring a guy like Tiger and Barron, they're going to bring a love for the game. You can tell it's evident in the way that they play the game, that they like what they're doing when they're out there on the field. And the other thing about it is I look at what Tiger in particular brings here is he fills out the wide receiver room for BYU because you lose a guy like Keelan Marion. I wanted to say AJ DeBonsa. We're not talking basketball. We're talking about Keelan Marion. You lose him to the transfer portal, and you're obviously wondering, okay, what are you going to do to replace him? Well, you bring in a guy who's got return experience and, quite frankly, might be a better, well-rounded receiver than a guy like Keelan Marion was in Tiger Bachmeier. I love me some Keelan Marion. Let me be very blunt about that. I loved what Keelan brought to the table, but his experience was more as a return man, becoming a wide receiver, whereas I think a guy like Tiger Bachmeier, the return element where he's able to contribute on special teams is in addition to him being a very, very solid wide receiver. That I think is the difference there between these two. But I look at what a guy like Tiger will bring. He's going to come in and compete right away. And that alone, I think, is going to excite Cougar fans because he probably comes in with the whole mindset, okay, I've got these other freshmen over here, guys like a Cody Hagan. You're also probably looking at a guy like Tei Nakua or a Don McKenzie, who are freshmen or redshirt freshmen who are eager to step up and really take control of their future in the BYU football program. Well, in steps a guy in Tiger Bachmeier, who is a junior and has got proven production at the Power 4 level the past 2 seasons. Well, the competition, the stakes got upped significantly for everybody in this room. I'm not saying that guys like a JoJo Phillips is exempted from this. I think Chase Roberts, you can pretty much say that Chase is untouchable. He is the gold standard when it comes to BYU wide receivers, but I really think that BYU has done a really, really good job filling out this room after losing Keelan Marion, because I said it before, I'll say it again. I think currently if I were to pencil in the 3 starters at wide receiver for BYU, I would go Chase Roberts, JoJo Phillips, and Parker Kingston. Parker, obviously, I would have him in that slot position, and he, like Tiger Bachmeier, has got the return element that will be able to contribute on special teams. But a guy like Tiger cannot be discounted to come in and potentially take away reps from guys because he did it at Stanford. He showed he's capable of. And the other thing is he is extremely smart. He graduated in computer science from Stanford University in 2.5 years. And if you know what Stanford's all about, they're all about academics. That's just the one thing that they're all about out there on the farm. And to graduate in not only a very just difficult discipline like computer science, but to do it in essentially 2.5 years, be 8 semesters, rough, give or take. Man, oh no, 9 semesters, excuse me. That's impressive stuff. So my hat goes off to Tiger Bachmeier. I think this is a really, really smart kid who's got a really smart head on his shoulders, and he's going to team up with his brother. And there's a chance, let's say if Bear does win the starting job next year, Tiger could be catching passes from his brother as he finishes up his collegiate career. That's the fun part and the fun element to all of this is that there's a family element here. And we've seen it across BYU for multiple years is that a lot of brothers will come to this program. There's a lot of family connections, dads who played at BYU whose sons end up there. Well, the Bachmeier family didn't really have, I think, a natural tie to BYU, but now with Bear and Tiger in the mix, that Bachmeier name is going to be obviously linked with BYU football forever. And that's an exciting prospect here. I look at Tiger's skill set, and it screams to me a guy who is very capable of being a contributing wide receiver for BYU. And a guy like Fesi Sitake has got to be thinking, okay, I just added another piece to the puzzle here. And that obviously should excite you as a Cougar fan, because we've seen time and time again that it seems like every time we feel like BYU finally has, I guess, what we call adequate depth, it seems like something happens that thins that out. And the nice part is a guy like Tiger Bachmeier, he knows what to expect as he comes in to play for BYU. And he's not going to be expecting, I think, anything more or anything less than what BYU can offer. And that is a top rate experience, but more importantly, a chance to play at the top level of collegiate football. That's the thing about this is I really, really like this edition because of the fact that he's already got proven ability, and you don't have to guess and kind of prognosticate what he's going to contribute to BYU. Yeah, you're wondering, okay, is the freshman campaign of what he offered, or is the sophomore more of what we expect? I think BYU's banking on the fact that he's probably slowed up due to some injury concerns this past year and an offense that was ineffective at Stanford. And a guy like Tiger, when you're playing in a much better offense, that should allow him to have a much bigger impact at the Power 4 level. So I really do like these two additions. I think they're two brothers who, like I said, are football guys through and through. They want to be together. That was part of the recruiting pitch, according to what Pete Thamel reported, that they out there in the portal were kind of looking as a package deal to end up wherever they ended up at their next university. And I think this is going to yield benefits for BYU. I think immediately you can expect you'll see Tiger Bachmeier on the field this year. He wore the number 24 at Stanford, but his recruiting photo from BYU, he's wearing the number 19. We'll see what he ultimately rocks this year when it comes to hitting the field. But I think you can get used to hearing the name Tiger Bachmeier as soon as this season. And a guy like Bear, maybe a year or two off, but the talent is evident. And the family connection, well, BYU likes to talk about welcome to the family when guys sign with the program. I think this is very much just that. Tiger and Bear are here, they're family, and they're looking forward to making an impact and making the Bachmeier name synonymous with BYU football in the coming months and years. And that alone, I think, is an exciting prospect to see for the BYU football program. All right, enough of that. We talked about we talked about Tigers and Bears. What are the chances they can add the Lion to the mix? Well, we're talking about Ryder Lyons and the chances BYU football remains in the mix for him when it comes to recruiting. We'll get into that next as we roll on right here on Locked On Cougars.